Howdy. So I'm sitting here along the banks of the Deschutes River in, it's near Lapine, Oregon. I'm in Lapine State Park, and it's absolutely beautiful here. So you might see a raft or not come down the river. People like to just float in rafts down this river. It's a nice big river, kind of a slow flow. So anyway, it looks like a lot of fun. But anyway, I just wanted to do a quick intro into the video. So first off, starting out, I have a little bit of footage left over, which was just absolutely breathtaking. And I'm just gonna have it as natural sound, but it's a little clip from a sunset at Whitewater Draw where the cranes were. And it was a sunset one evening, and it was just absolutely stunning. I was watching the yellow-headed blackbirds get ready to roost. And so the first film of the sunset is a totally different look. And then 5 minutes later, I took another clip of the same sunset, and it's just completely changed. It's absolutely breathtaking. So anyway, hopefully you get some joy out of that. So anyway, this video is just the Buenos Aires National Wildlife Refuge. Again, many encounters with cool critters, cactuses, that type of thing. And also just the whole region was awesome, as Baboquivari Peak is just an ever-present just monument around that area. It's just, I didn't even know it existed, and then upon seeing it, it was just spectacular. And so it has quite the presence. And so I did a little clip of or a little montage of some scenery of that. So I hope you enjoy that as well. But anyway, lots of cool things to see, and enjoy the video. Here we go. Okay, how about that sunset? That'll bring the heart rate right down. So anyway, this is a little map showing where I was for this video's footage. This is Refuge, where I stayed my first night, and then in the morning went to Buenos Aires National Wildlife Refuge, which this arrow depicts here. And then off in the distance to the west is where Baboquivari Peak was, and I have some nice footage of that, as I mentioned in the intro. So the first night in Refuge, I stayed up on this hilltop and had a panoramic view, and that is this footage. So it was a little bit cold on this evening. It was overcast at this point. It was still kind of early spring, late winter, but about 6 in the morning, you could see the trucks rolling in. These are the Border Patrol trucks. And they just kind of haul ass on these roads going to their workplaces. So they did a little pano of the views from the hilltop where I stayed the night. And I just kind of rolled the dice. The Border Patrol didn't bother me. Nobody bothered me. It's somewhat remote. So I just had a little parking spot up on top of the hill, and these lands just go on forever, and just beautiful, beautiful mountains all around. It's really hard to capture how vast it is in video, but it's amazing. You could just wander forever in these hills. So continuing around with the pano here, you can see this little peak above the clouds, which was the first I saw of Baboquivari Peak, and I was like, what the heck is that? So it was kind of a neat introduction. And then more Border Patrol trucks kept rolling in. So one more time around here. You can see the peak in the distance there. Absolutely beautiful. So then this morning I went into the Refuge and started my walk. So this is just right at the entrance. There was a little nature park area as part of the Refuge and some paths. And so I parked there and walked in and came across this massive cottonwood tree. And I don't think the video shows how massive it is, but it's I don't know. The best way to describe it is it's just time. This whole view and depiction of this tree is just life and time. Just how old that tree was, I don't know, but this cool raven still making use of what was left of it. And it was just kind of almost an eerie type of scene with the raven and this skeleton of a cottonwood. It's absolutely beautiful. You just see, quote unquote, the bones of the tree just laying there. And walking on further, a little red flash caught my eye. And mind you, this is in South Arizona. And to my surprise, it was a cardinal. So I guess they migrate, or they may stay around in this area. But I kind of think they were migrating. But so that was a nice treat to see. And this is a little unknown bird that I saw. He's kind of a cute little guy with the rusty brown tuft on top of his head. And then when he flew off, he had some kind of nice yellowish tones. And continuing on down the trail, there was this little area along the path with these trees. And what caught my eye was the bark. I mean, everything in the desert, it's just prickly, hard, poison, something or other, fast. And so this particular tree is almost like armor of sorts. And I'm trying to show here how hard it was. I mean, it was just like steel. I could not break these little pieces of bark off. They were just intensely hard, and you could see the growth lines on them. It was almost like the Grand Canyon. On one tree here, I get a little closer, and you can see kind of the lines of the bark and how old this bark is. It's an incredible bark and tree. I don't know what kind of tree it is, but it was really cool to kind of mess with it and just kind of learn about it a bit. And ants. The ants are ever fascinating. So what caught my eye on this particular little ant migration was you had some typical looking ants there, and then you had these soldier ants that had these massive shovel shaped heads, almost awkward in a way, the way they were blundering around, almost like their head was too big for them. So I get some nice macro here in a moment of a couple of them. And they came in different colors. One was black and the other one had kind of a rusty color, but very cool looking ant. All right, sticking with the ant theme, around in Arizona, there were these kind of large areas, you know, sometimes 5 to 15 feet across, and you could tell they were just almost ancient mounds of these ants that have excavated just relentlessly. So here we're following one ant, and he's got the little boulder there, and so to him it's a boulder, to us it's just a little pebble. But I was fascinated to just watch one ant and see if they were doing what I thought they were doing, which was coming out of the burrow with a pebble and then taking it out some distance and then dropping it off. But would they then return and go back into the hole to retrieve another pebble? So how industrious are they? So that's our mission here, is just to watch one ant. And there it was. It was a sizable pebble. So now he's dropped it off, and he's going to figure out his way back, hopefully. And it's not easy keeping track of one ant at times. They all look the same. Here we go. He still got him. Don't lose him. He's right there. And there's the hole. Will he go back in? Indeed. Very industrious. So I have no idea if he went and took a nap or if he came back. So here's another otherworldly beetle critter that I found. It turned out there were quite a few of these out roaming around, and they were quite animated. And that's the nice thing about macro. You get in close and then you can almost begin to kind of get a little flavor of their personalities and what they're doing. So after a while I was curious what these beetles were out doing. And you can see their little antennae, and then they have the kind of smaller little pedipalps. And you can see there he's drumming on different items, and they're actually chemoreceptors, so he's getting a quick sniff or sampling of what the vegetation or whatever he's curious about. So if you watch closely, he does a quick little drumming on that twig and then moves on. And so I so enjoy watching insects at this level. And then finally, he found what he was looking for, and they were feeding on a certain type of dead leaf. I don't know what it was, but it was more of a broadleaf. It wasn't a grass. It was more of a broadleaf type dried piece of vegetation. So they were feeding, and then also continuing on their journey. And again, this was late winter, early spring. So everything happens pretty fast in the desert. There's not much time. So the other activity was a bit of breeding. And they were not shy about this at all, as you'll see. Anything of the right color and size and shape was good enough. And after a bit of effort, figuring out this isn't going to work out. He just scampers off. And so another place I stayed, it was a really nice kind of campground in the refuge. And I woke up, and to my surprise, again, I also saw these at Whitewater Draw. These are the vermilion flycatchers. So they're so kind of restless. They're tough to film because they're just constantly going here and there. But I finally got a good shot of one. It took me quite a lot of time following these guys around to get this footage. But it's an absolutely beautiful bird, and they're kind of a metallic scarlet. It's incredible. And here, I'm exploring under tin. Ever since I've been a kid, I've always lifted things up to see what's underneath. And I believe this was a kangaroo rat of some sort. There's probably many species, but that's what I think it was. So I get a little better footage of him here. He was darting around quite a bit, so I couldn't ever really get a super good shot of him, and I didn't want to kind of disturb him constantly. So I did give him a run for his money on this day. But here we go. You can see him a little better right here. Cute little guy. And now for a little intermission, we have a little scenery of Baboquivari Peak. Enjoy. So on another day, I was hiking around kind of out in the desert, and there were these rock outcroppings. I was just exploring around, and I didn't see these anywhere else, but in this one little crevice on this rock outcropping, to my surprise, there was a fern, which you also associate with kind of damp, swampy conditions or a lot of moisture, but there was this beautiful little fern growing in here, and it was you could tell it was very well adapted to a drier climate, or at least most of the time. It had a kind of the fuzzy, kind of waxy leaves, and that's just to, you know, protect it from sun and help with water retention. So really a fascinating fern to find. I had no idea there would be ferns in this region, but nature ever surprises. And then here I'm just doing some just general footage of the different plants around in the desert. These spindly plants are the ocotillo, and you can see Baboquivari Peak again in the background. It's just so beautiful. I couldn't stop filming that. The scenery was it's just absolutely majestic out in the desert. So here I've turned up a rock, and there was this fascinating spider. You can tell it's really windy. It's just constantly windy in the desert, it seems. But this was a pretty cool looking spider. It had a flat abdomen. You could tell it's, kind of adapted for crevice life or under rocks. I tried to get close in on it. Once I got close, it just had a really, really cool little face, and it had a lot of white spikes on it. So just a great, great little spider I'd never seen before. So I'm glad I found this little guy. And then I was primarily looking for reptiles in the area. I didn't find any other than this lizard. And they seem to be somewhat common in the area. They have some neat patterns on their back, but they're super fast as well, as you can see. So here again, we have nice scenery, and then there was one little cactus that caught my eye. And it's absolutely just a beautiful little cactus. It's the needles on it are just very unique. I've never seen anything like it, but apparently it's a rainbow hedgehog cactus. And yeah, it just has kind of these really very symmetrical, delicate looking spines on them, spirally. Anyway, it was really, really a cool find to find that little cactus. And then here we have more cholla. I'm not sure which cholla this is, but I just wanted to show how large they get. They get extremely large, and this particular species, it just had a really nice, beautiful, almost jade green coloration to it. And then they form trunks after a while, which are neat. This is a good shot of how they're formed. And then here I wanted to show a dead portion and how the kind of the vascular or kind of structure of the cactus is comprised. It has kind of these fibrous matrix. It's a pretty cool look. So I spent a good deal of time around this particular cholla, and so I saw a cactus wren nest when I went around to the other side. And so what a perfect place to make a nest if you can. It's very protected, and like the little description said, it's kind of a football shaped size nest. Looks pretty cozy in there. It's a lot of work. Nobody was home, at least while I was there. It may be in use, I'm not sure. And I think I had seen the cactus wren maybe flying here and there, but I didn't realize what I was seeing. It was hard to get a good picture of it. So this is on the west side of the park. I had gone down to, I think it's pronounced Sasabe, Mexico. It's a little border town. And as I was driving down, these antelope caught my eye. So apparently there are antelope this far south, and talking to one of the park folks, I believe this is a unique subspecies that lives in the southern desert here. And so they're trying to grow the herds a little bit. And so you'll see on some of this footage, there's one or two with a collar, and they were brought in from elsewhere to try to bolster the herd. But there are jaguar in the area, which is amazing to me. It's a beautiful cat, and I would love to see one, but that would take a lot of time. But anyway, it was very fun to watch these antelope for a bit and to see this very unique, kind of rare animal for down in this region. They were definitely aware of my presence, and were a little bit cautious. So I stayed still, and I was able to get some pretty close footage. You can see the collar on the one on the right there and the one on the left. And then there's a buck there in the center. So, and then at one point I didn't get the footage of it, but I did spook them, and it was very cool to see them run. They're so well adapted to the open areas. Okay, well, that was Buenos Aires National Wildlife Refuge. So what a cool place to find, right on the border. There's probably not a lot of people even know about it or get down that way, but Aravaca was another cool little town near the border. So I really enjoyed being there, seeing the antelope, and kind of the ever-present Baboquivari Peak, which was just this stunning, majestic mountain just always around. It was just, I don't know, it has a presence. It's a very unique peak. So I didn't even know it existed before I had gone down that way, and seeing it was just awesome. So yeah, that wildlife refuge, if you ever get close to that area, is worth a visit. So anyway, that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching, and I hope you got at least a taste of another beautiful place in the United States of America. So anyway, till next time, take care. We'll see ya.